what threatened us with catastrophe turned out to be our salvation.
Three years ago, the world faced the first outbreak of a deadly plant virus that began destroying ecosystems everywhere. Eating food infected with the virus can trigger serious autoimmune diseases, and the widespread loss of plants has lowered oxygen levels in the atmosphere to just 10%, causing natural disasters around the globe. Despite efforts, the world's top laboratories have failed to find a cure, and people are beginning to fear that Earth might be beyond saving. The last hope lies in Project Gemini, created by Dr. Stephen. This project is based on two ancient alien artifacts discovered by paleontologists, believed to be 4 billion years old, long before life existed on Earth. Stephen's team managed to recreate the extremely strong materials of the sphere in the engine and made copies. The engine enabled them to build a ship that flew on its own and found a planet suitable for terraforming. The sphere, designed to create life, operates through dozens of commands that the team has finally decoded. The artifacts also suggest that life on Earth may have been seeded by aliens. A team of doctors and military pilots will travel to build Earth 2.0 in a star system called TESS, located several hundred light years away. Stephen's wife, Amy, does not want him to join the mission. On the day of the launch, she arrives at the base in a last attempt to stop him, but she doesn't make it in time and watches helplessly as the ship lifts off. As the vessel leaves Earth's atmosphere, a strange crack appears on the alien sphere, hinting that they might not be alone. Using the alien engine, the ship opens a warp portal and jumps across the universe. However, upon arrival, the ship's systems report an error. They haven't reached TESS but are somewhere unknown. Stephen blames engineer Peter, accusing him of entering the wrong coordinates, and temporarily suspends him from duty. Later, while resting, Stephen keeps thinking about Amy and recalls the first time he activated the sphere, which let him see a mysterious humanoid figure that vanished quickly. Stephen then asks the team to recalibrate the jump trajectory to figure out their location, but all data is scrambled, as if they moved through another dimension. Meanwhile, Peter leaves his bunker and takes a security camera to examine the sphere alone. At that moment, the computer alerts the crew that someone opened the repair airlock and that an unidentified object is approaching. To everyone's disbelief, they suddenly notice Peter frozen outside the ship. Dr. David believes Peter ended his life because he couldn't live with his mistake. However, Dr. Leona refuses to accept it, insisting she's known Peter for 8 years and he wasn't that type of person. Stephen scolds her for mourning someone who has endangered all of humanity and orders her to take over Peter's responsibilities from now on. Later, David opens up that when his daughter died, he also thought about giving up, but he chose to stay alive and be useful. Now that the mission seems over, he feels useless again. Stephen reassures him that they will find a solution. At that moment, the ship approaches a planet made entirely of volcanic rock. The planet has no oxygen, but its surface isn't hostile, meaning the crew only needs breathing masks. Stephen sees it as the perfect place to continue their plan and wants to land immediately. Captain Ryan warns him that they haven't studied the planet properly yet, and rushing in could endanger the crew. Stephen ignores the caution, reminding everyone that he is in charge. The team prepares to land on a shuttle while Officer Richard remains on the mothership. As they approach the planet, a violent storm hits, forcing them to use braking thrusters to slow their descent. This consumes all their fuel, leaving them no way to return, but it's their only chance to survive. When the shuttle lands, the crew passes out. Stephen dreams about the time he gave Amy a bracelet made from a piece of the old sphere, connecting the two most important things in his life. Moments later, they wake up and get back to work. The shuttle is mostly intact, but fuel is very low, leaving them stranded. Stephen is unconcerned. They plan to stay for 4 years, and even if they didn't land exactly where they wanted, he believes one of the massive caves nearby can serve as a dome for launching the sphere. Meanwhile, in the hidden corridors of the shuttle, a strange goo drips from the walls. On the mothership, Richard inspects the rooms and finds this goo is linked to the missing camera. Once suited up, the crew carries the sphere to the nearest cave and activates it successfully. They return to the shuttle to collect data, but Riot suddenly announces martial law on the station. He explains that Richard had shared some footage while the doctors were busy. The video shows Peter recording himself while inspecting the sphere, to avoid being blamed for mistakes later. When he opens the engine door, something moves in the shadows, attacks him, and kills him before throwing him out of the ship. The camera cannot clearly capture the creature, but Richard confirms that this alien has been with them since leaving Earth, having traveled inside the sphere like a Trojan horse. It likely caused the jump to fail, but it's no longer on the mothership. It went down to the planet with the shuttle. Richard can track it because the alien interferes with electromagnetic fields, which also explains the poor video quality. Their discussion is suddenly interrupted as David notices something unusual in the system. The sphere was operating a different program than the one they had uploaded. Stephen wanted to go back to it, but Ryan stopped him. He reminded Stephen that he was no longer in charge and accused him of keeping secrets. Ryan also revealed that Richard had found footage of Stephen seeing a strange shape on Earth months ago, which meant he knew there could be a threat but told no one. According to Ryan, this made Steven responsible for Peter's death. Feeling hurt and offended by the accusation, Steven stormed out of the room, thinking about all the effort he and David had put into the project. He had initially doubted whether David should come because he was still grieving, but David insisted he was ready and wanted to help build a better Earth, hoping to prevent other children from dying like his daughter had. Moments later, Steven found David and asked him to sneak out through the airlock to check on the sphere. David hesitated, not wanting to disobey Ryan, but Steven convinced him by appealing to the memory of his daughter and the future of the planet. When they reached the cave, they saw the sphere was creating an alien life form much faster than it had on Earth, due to someone changing the settings. Steven immediately began adjusting the sphere's settings, ignoring David's pleas to leave and discuss it with the team. Suddenly, David noticed on their radar that the alien was approaching. He fired a warning shot to make Steven stop, but Steven drew his weapon in response. Before anything could happen, they realized the alien was already inside the cave. Steven grabbed a piece of the sphere to take with him, and both men ran as the creature drew closer, its shadows and noises growing more terrifying. Once they emerged from the cave, they saw the alien fully for the first time. Luckily, they managed to reach the shuttle and shut the airlock just before it could attack. David scolded Steven for risking their lives, but Steven insisted the sphere was more important and warned that next time he wouldn't hesitate to shoot. At that moment, Ryan arrived to confront Steven, and when Steven explained that force might be needed to stop the alien, Ryan punched him. Suddenly, the computer alarmed the crew about a breach in the module's integrity. Leona left her room to investigate and found goo spreading through the corridor. She was suddenly pulled back into a different area by Frank, who explained that the alien had broken into the low deck and reached the lander. Carefully, the two tried to hide in the lab, but the air was becoming hard to breathe. The lights went out, and strange noises came from behind the plant units. Frank pushed Leona out as the alien attacked, and she ran down the corridor hearing his screams as he was killed. Leona made it to the control room and told the team what had happened. Ryan yelled at Steven for bringing the alien back. The creature had damaged the generator and disabled the cameras, leaving them unable to track Richard or the rest of the ship. The only option was to reach the backup generator and restore communication, a risky task without knowing the alien's location. Steven volunteered, taking responsibility. Armed, Steven carefully reached the generator and restored the communication system. The team could now track the alien and warned him of its proximity, but as he tried to leave, he began hearing the same eerie noises. Fortunately, Ryan acted quickly and pulled him back into the control room using a metal rope. The team quickly comes up with a plan to flush the alien out of the ship. Steven waits outside as bait while Leona opens the airlocks and then the lab door, quickly hiding in another room as the alien emerges. The creature moves swiftly through the airlocks, but when Richard tries to start the engine to burn it out, he fails. The alien is disrupting the signal. Steven runs for his life, and Leona rushes to help him. Just then, the alien appears again, but Richard regains control of the engine. Steven and Leona rush back inside as the fire hits the creature. The flames aren't enough to kill it, and it reaches for Steven, who is being pulled inside by David. The alien's tentacle injures David's arm just as they close the door, leaving part of the creature behind. As the beast retreats to the cave, Ryan shuts the airlocks, and the team reseals the hole. Soon after, they find Frank's body. Grief-stricken, Leona considers giving up, but Steven thinks of Amy. She had begged him not to leave, explaining she was working on a vaccine, and that she was pregnant. Yet, saving Earth outweighed his personal life, and Steven stays. David goes to the lab to treat his wound, while Steven brings the alien's tentacle for study. He discovers that the creature is a bio-robot made from the same material as the sphere, meaning the sphere's purpose was always to create these beasts. Steven realizes the tentacle has infected David with a unique bacteria, whose properties could help develop a vaccine to save Earth. When Steven cuts the tentacle, the lights flicker, reminding him of the image he saw back on Earth. He realizes the alien is a transponder and this is how its race colonizes planets. Determined to stop it, Steven plans to destroy the alien and reset the sphere. But Ryan locks him in the lab, claiming he's putting everyone at risk. Ryan argues that Steven treats lives as expendable, and David accuses him of wanting to be a hero rather than truly caring for humanity. This reminds Steven of Amy's last words, when she accused him of having a savior complex before throwing away her bracelet. Steven continues his research, and Richard confirms his theory. They haven't traveled through space, they've traveled through time. They're still on Earth, but 4 billion years ago, before life existed. The sphere fragment they brought is the same one that future paleontologists will discover. Ignoring David's worsening wound, Steven gets excited upon realizing that the fragment he grabbed will later become Amy's bracelet. He writes a message on it to teach her how to activate what they left behind. Meanwhile, in the present, Amy arrives at Steven's lab, struggling with the news that the team failed. Suddenly, Richard warns Steven that Ryan is preparing explosives to destroy the sphere and has turned off his radio to avoid objections. Steven asks Richard to open the airlock so he can get out. As soon as he finds Ryan with the bombs, he starts explaining that they can come up with a better plan. Their conversation is suddenly cut short when a shot kills Ryan. It's David, who has escaped through the airlock. The infection has made him lose his mind, and he now believes the alien has chosen him to fix the mistakes of humans, whom it sees as a malfunction. Steven quickly throws Leona's Rubik's Cube at the wall to distract David and shoots him, causing David to flee while injured. Afterward, Steven sets off the bomb and goes outside to fire a flare to get the alien's attention. He leads the alien to the control room and locks it inside. As he runs down the corridor, David shoots at him and pushes him into hiding. The alien then breaks through the door and approaches Steven, who manages to fend it off with a quick shot. The alien chases Steven, and when he reaches the control room again, he runs into David, who tries to kill him. The alien suddenly appears and kills David, giving Steven the chance to escape the shuttle just before the bomb explodes, destroying the creature. Steven collapses outside, unconscious for a few moments, before Richard calls to check if he is alive. Richard wants to come and save him, but the storm is too strong. Steven tells him to stay back and heads to the cave to use the sphere. In the present, Amy finds her bracelet and sees the hidden message. She activates the sphere, and the past and present merge, allowing Steven and Amy to meet once more. Steven quickly shares the formula for the vaccine and tells Amy he loves her before the connection ends. Steven dies in the cave from lack of oxygen, and Amy mourns the loss of her husband. Many months later, Amy is raising a healthy baby, thanks to the vaccine that is now helping the world recover and become a better place. If you enjoyed this Project Gemini 2022 movies full recap, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more videos like this, and thanks for watching.